everyone, welcome back to our channel. In this video I will explain about the echelon form of a matrix. See the definition of echelon form. A matrix capital A of order m by n. Here m represents number of rows in this matrix A and n represents number of columns in this matrix A. Here m is equal to n, otherwise m is not equal to n. Okay, if m is equal to n, then this matrix becomes square matrix. If m is not equal to n, then given matrix is said to be rectangular matrix. Okay, a matrix capital A of order m by n is said to be in echelon form if capital A satisfies following conditions. Okay, if capital A satisfies following conditions. First condition is all zero rows. What is the mean by zero row? A row in a matrix is said to be zero row if all elements in that row are zeros. Okay, all zero rows in capital A should be lines below of the non-zero rows, if any. So it means that if capital A has any zero rows, that zero rows should be below of the non-zero rows. So indirectly you should understand that if matrix A has some zero rows, then that zero rows should be bottom of the matrix. Don't forget it. Second condition, the number of starting zeros in the non-zero rows increased row by row. Okay, the number of starting zeros in the non-zero rows should be increased row by row. That is the second condition. If capital A satisfies this both condition, then A is said to be in echelon form. I will try to explain this definition with suitable examples also. See. First, I will take a matrix. Consider this matrix 5, 4, 3, 2, 0, -1, 5, -7, 0, 0, 3, 2, 0, 0, 0, 0. You can consider this matrix. Now we are going to check that whether this matrix A is in echelon form or not. For that purpose, you should verify that this matrix satisfies these both conditions or not. Okay, what is the first condition? If there is any zero row, that zero row should be below of the non-zero rows. Clearly, this is the first row. This is a non-zero row. This is also second row. This is second row. This is also a non-zero row because all elements are not zero. R3, row 3 is also non-zero row. But row 4 is a zero row. This is a zero row because all elements in this row are zeros. So we are observing that this zero row is lying below of the non-zero rows. So first condition satisfied. And what about the next one? The number of starting zeros in the non-zero rows. Okay, actually there is no starting zero in the first row. And see the next one. This is a non-zero row and this is the starting zero. Here we have two starting zero rows. Here we have more than two starting zeros. We are observing that starting zeros are increased row by row. That's why this matrix A is in echelon form. Okay, since there is no starting zero, next row should contain at least one zero here. So we have it. That next row should contain more than one zero. Here we have two zeros. Okay. So that next row contains more than two zeros. It has four zeros. That's why second condition satisfied. The number of starting zeros in the non-zero rows increased row by row. This is the meaning of the second point. So this matrix A is in echelon form. Now I will try to give another example here. See. Okay, we are observing that this matrix also satisfies both conditions. So what is the first condition? If there is any zero rows, that all zero rows should lie below of the non-zero rows. So there are two zero rows. Both two zeros are lies bottom of the matrix, nothing but below of the non-zero rows. So first condition satisfied, and the number of starting zeros increased row by row clearly here. Here we have two zeros, here we have four zeros, last row is also zero. That's why second condition is also satisfied. And one more standard example for echelon form is, you can take any identity matrix of any order. You can take I2, I3, I4. You can take any identity matrix of any order. This is also in echelon form. Okay now. So we are observing that there is no zero rows. If there is any zero rows, that zero rows may be below of the non-zero rows. Okay, and starting zeros are increased row by row. No doubt at all. You can take I4 1 0 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 0 1 0 identity matrix of order 4. This is also one standard example for echelon form. Every identity matrix should be in echelon form. Now what is the purpose of echelon form? If capital A is in echelon form, just by eye contact we can easily tell what is its rank. If A is in echelon form, then what is rank? If A is very important point, if capital A is in echelon form, then the rank of matrix A is represented by row of A. Already you know it. Number of non-zero rows. Number of non-zero rows in that echelon form. So clearly here we have 4 non-zero rows. That's why rank of I4 is equal to 4. Similarly, rank of I3 is 3. Don't forget one important point. Rank of identity matrix is equal to its order also. Very important point. What about rank here? Last one is 0 row. First 3 are non-zero rows. That's why here rank is 3. In the next example, last 2 rows are 0 rows. Only first 2 rows are non-zero rows. So here rank of A is equal to 2. In this way, if given matrix capital A is in echelon form, we can easily identify what is its rank. Okay. In the next video, I will give some examples on echelon form, and don't forget one important point. Given matrix is not in this directly echelon form. Maybe given matrix contains 4 non-zero rows, otherwise 5 non-zero rows, we don't know about it. We have to reduce given matrix capital A into echelon form by using only row operations. That's why this echelon form is also known as simply row echelon form. Echelon form, otherwise row echelon form, both are same. In the next video, I will give the examples on echelon form. Thank you very much.